Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio podcast and television show. I'm your host, Life Coach Marina Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is Craig Goldberg. Craig is a relaxation expert, and we're going to be talking today on the topic how to reset your nervous system with mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is big, and that's one of the reasons I invited Craig on the show. So, welcome, Craig.
Thank you. Grateful to be here.
Yes, I am going to enjoy your conversation because I practice mindfulness every day. Now, more recently than I have before, because I'm reading the book, The Power of the Now by Eckhart Tolle. So I am heavily into mindfulness. Yes. All
And
right. So
it
let me
is
give
a
you guys.
practice.
What was that?
And it is a practice.
Yes, it is. Yes. All right. So let me give you guys a brief intro into Craig. Craig Goldberg is a relaxation expert and technologist on a quest to help humanity achieve a deeper sense of inner calmness through the use of sound and vibration technology. He is a vibroacoustic therapy practitioner, and his work is backed by 40 plus years of research showing the many benefits of this type of therapy. He is also a patented inventor, constantly exploring new ways to use sound and vibration to help people reduce stress and anxiety, heal, and transform their lives for the better. Craig is passionate about his work and truly believes in its ability to provide a path towards a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Yes. Now, I am, like I started off by saying, I'm very much into mindfulness. I've had lots of guests on the show talking about mindfulness. I've had lots of guests on the show talking about meditation and the nervous system, but I've never had a guest that talked about combining vibration and vibroacoustic therapy. So, first of all, Craig, can you share your journey into this path? And how did you marry the two, and why is it something that we should be interested in?
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. There's a couple mouthfuls in that intro that we can certainly unpack. Look,
Yes.
at my heart, I'm a club kid from New York City. All right. And what does that mean? It means I like standing in front of a stack of speakers and feeling the bass.
All
Right?
right.
Hip hop and reggae when I was a kid, and that translated now into electronic music and dance and house music and melodic house and that sort of thing. And I love feeling the music. And I think that resonates with just about everybody on the planet. If you've been to a
Mhm.
concert, if you've been to a nightclub with a great sound system, and they're playing the music that you like, because it's different for all of us, it gets you moving. It literally, like when you're at a concert, forget about the 40,000 people that are around you that are dancing and grooving, but like
Yeah.
when you feel that music, it moves your soul.
Yes, it
And
does.
I
And
didn't
if
know
it's
this when
not
I was
loud enough, like if you go to a party and the music is not loud, it doesn't do anything for you. So I know
totally
exactly what you feel, what you're saying.
right. You're like, what is this elevator music? And it could still be your favorite artist, and it's just like do 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 do. Like you're like, okay, cool, right? But
Mhm.
when they turn it up, and it's really the low end frequencies that actually has a physiological impact on your body, and we could talk about that. We can dive into the science as deep as we want today. The reality is, music moves you, and it's the low end frequencies. So, not knowing what I didn't know, I'm 44 years old in May. So this is 25 years ago that I'm hanging out in, New York City nightclubs. And I didn't know what I didn't know back then. I just knew what I liked and I went for more of it. So almost every night I actually worked in New York City hospitality. And about 10 years ago, my wife got sick. And my story, I think, is very common for a lot of folks that are going to be listening, because my wife got sick and modern medicine didn't have any answers. They couldn't figure out what was going on. Test after test, doc after doc, over and over again, everything came back negative. And I kept asking the docs if it could be diet related, if this could be, nutrition deficiency. And they were all very quick to, no, 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 that can't be it. In the end, it wound up being gluten.
Mm.
72 hours without gluten, and all of her symptoms went away and stayed away. And over the next 6 months of being 100% gluten-free, remember, this is a decade, this is 10 years ago. We didn't have the all the gluten-free foods that we have now, and the market was completely different. It was a little bit of a struggle for us to do it. And over the next 6 months, my wife got better and I got worse. So I cut gluten out of my diet and I started doing worse. So I really set myself out to figure out what was it that's doing this to me? Why do I feel the way that I feel? Runny nose, sniffles, low-grade fever. What I found out 6 to 9 months, really 9 months later, is that my body was detoxing. It was no longer distracted by the inflammatory response that the gluten was causing. And now all of a sudden it could operate the way it was designed to operate, and it had a lot of toxicity to let go of. So a lot of people are confused or think it's the Hertzheimer reaction, like a negative reaction when they're doing something new, when in reality, sometimes it's just the body detoxing, cleansing, clearing, and releasing. And I did a lot of that after, at the time, 30 years of damage and toxicity and toxic load to my body. It had a lot that was stored to release. It was a really remarkable process. In that process, we found essential oils. We started traveling the country, teaching, training, and educating about essential oils. And we'd show up at a yoga retreat, and I would gravitate towards the sound therapists, the folks that are playing the didgeridoo, the gongs, the crystal bowls. And I would lay in front of them for 45 minutes and I would bliss out, and I'd wake up 45 minutes later and I'd feel amazing, rested, rejuvenated, shedding, cleansing, and clearing the life that I had before I walked into this retreat or this conference. And I was on point, ready to rock and roll. Well, I wanted this basically on tap. I'm an audiophile. I like clean music. I like it good audio, and it sounds great and it feels great. Just like I said, I'm a club kid. I've always had a great stereo system. So, and I'm talking like 5.1, 7.1 stereo system, right? That I built from the ground up. So I bought a gong CD. This is going back 6, 7 years ago. I bought a gong CD. I arranged my speakers. I was starfished out in the middle of my living room, and I put my right and my left. And I put my center channel between my legs, my rear right, my rear left, and I'm just laying in the middle of my speakers trying to recreate this sound therapy experience. And of course, I was using the wrong technology, but I had this experience. I wanted to create something like this. I got a phone call about 3 months later from my now business partner, Dominic, who said, "Hey, I got something in my office you need to come check out." And I said, happily. And I went down and I had my first sound lounge experience. And I was using the wrong technology. The technology that's inside our furniture is called a tactile transducer, otherwise known as a bass shaker. Inside here is a magnet. That magnet is oscillating back and forth. A certain number of oscillations per second is a certain hertz frequency. So 20 hertz oscillates that magnet 20 times per second. It creates vibration. That vibration transfers directly to your body. And what I didn't know is that there's an entire body of research that guides and talks about this, and has for 40 plus years. So the late 1970s, a gentleman by the name of Olav Skill began to research specific frequencies and their impact on our body, on our physiology, on our neurology, on our anatomy, on our organs. And what he found is that specifically focusing on 30 hertz to 120 hertz has a profound impact to calm and relax the nervous system, to send messages to every muscle in the body telling it to relax, to increase lymphatic drainage, to increase or decrease recovery time, increase our ability to recover faster between workouts. And I found, and it feels amazing, right? So I kind of found this magic carpet ride, if you will, in this sound lounge, and I became absolutely enamored. When we're talking about frequencies, I'll put some of them in perspective. So the human ear picks up frequencies between 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz. So 20,000 hertz obviously being very much on the high spectrum. Vibroacoustic therapy focuses on 30 hertz to 120 hertz. To further dial that in, that subwoofer that you have in your home stereo system is typically 80 hertz and below. So we're talking about very low frequencies. We're talking about bass. We're talking about vibration. In fact, once you get above 100 hertz, you're no longer feeling that frequency, you are hearing it. And the reason we feel it is because of these counterreceptors that are in our skin that send triggers to the brain. And that's actually the mechanism of action. That's how vibroacoustic therapy works. But look, in addition to being a club kid, all my friends had competition sound cars when I was a kid also. So
Yeah.
418s, in the back of a trunk that just filled up
Yes.
the entire trunk with the amplifiers and the music.
Yeah.
And, you
Yeah.
sit down, it's enough to make your
Yeah.
hair stand up.
Yeah. 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 I've
Same,
been through that.
same,
I've been through
right?
that. My
Yeah,
ex-husband had a trunk that was you couldn't put anything in it. It was just a stereo.
that's
Yes.
right. Right. So look, same in that it's a delivery system. Now there's some slight differences in obviously the amount of wattage and power and that sort of thing. We use a fraction of what was flowing through that truck. And we do so because you're directly connected to it. So we don't have to make the entire, parking lot shake. We don't need to make the entire room shake. We just need to make your body vibrate. And it's a direct transference of that vibratory energy. Vibroacoustic is vibration and sound. Vibration, acoustic is sound. So this body of research, vibroacoustic therapy, is really just talking about vibration and sound and its impact on our body. And what we found over the last 6 years of doing this is that when we start doing brain tests, brainwave entrainment tests, that music harmonizes the brain, that it brings you into that meditative state, that alpha or theta brainwave state, and has a profound impact on the rest of your body. So for somebody like me, who, Mirna, if 6 years ago you said to me, Craig, I want you to sit in the corner and meditate, I would have laughed. Like, come on. Like, I can't. One, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Two,
Yeah.
all I'm going to do is think about all the stuff I'm not doing. Right. And now, of course,
Yes.
we
Yes.
teach people how to meditate through sound and vibration. We teach them by guiding or distracting their brain by the music. So our music is very specifically made. It has deep bass notes that are drawn out, these long drone notes that entrains the body. And the brain, we have something like 60 different instruments in each one of our tracks. So your brain is constantly, the only instruction when you sit down and you listen.
I remember when I was a Michael Jackson fan, and I would just turn on his music and it would put me in a totally different frame of mind.
Totally.
So I know that music definitely can
Those
change
lyrics,
your
the intention.
state.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. So let's talk about why. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's break down the nervous system and let's talk about, frankly, what I truly believe the next pandemic and what is already an epidemic here in the United States, and that is mental health.
Mhm.
Far too many Americans, myself included, are walking around stressed and anxious. And music helps to melt away that stress and that anxiety by taking you from the technical term, which is a sympathetic nervous system response, which is associated with stress and anxiety. It's associated with fight or flight, and we're going to talk about that, versus a parasympathetic nervous system response, which is associated with cool, calm, and collected, relaxed. And we're designed to hang out in parasympathetic, cool, calm, and relaxed, until our brains involuntarily trigger us into a sympathetic nervous system response when our life is threatened or when we find ourselves in a stressful situation. Too many Americans are walking around in that sympathetic nervous system response from the time they wake up until the time they go to bed, day after day after day. And I want to share what happens when you're in that stressed and anxious. So anytime you're stressed and anxious, you're in a sympathetic nervous system response. And you stay that way for anywhere from an hour to 4 hours, depending on your body, your nervous system, and how good it is at regulating the difference between sympathetic and parasympathetic, moving you in and out. And there's a series of hormones and neurochemicals, and there's an awful lot that has to happen in order for you to go from sympathetic to parasympathetic, right? From stressed and anxious to
Mhm.
calm and relaxed. Here's the problem. And I want to share this with everybody because too many Americans are dealing with the symptoms that I'm about to share and not treating the core issue of regulating your nervous system and getting you into a parasympathetic. So, when you drift into a sympathetic nervous system response, stressed and anxious, your brain detects a threat. Yeah, this is really important. This is involuntary. This
Mhm.
is not something, and we're going to get into mindfulness, and we're going to wrap this whole thing up as to why mindfulness and meditation is so important. And mindfulness meditation, we could talk about the difference as well, is so important. So your brain detects a threat. That could be something as trivial and silly as construction on your regular route to work. You're now going to be late, and you don't know
Yeah.
what you're going to tell your boss, that you're running late again, but there wasn't traffic yesterday and there's traffic today. And oh, okay. It could be something as important as an email on a Friday afternoon from the HR department saying that we're reducing all salaries by 25% starting Monday. Your life is now threatened. Your well-being is now threatened. And it could certainly be a physical threat. The easiest scenario that I can think of, I lived in Manhattan for 10 years. I found myself on a couple dark streets in the wrong part of town often enough. And that spidey sense that starts to go off, right? Even a woman walking late at night on a good street, in a good neighborhood, right? And all of a sudden you think somebody's following you. Even if nobody's actually following you, think somebody's following you.
Yeah.
You're going to trigger that spidey sense. That spidey sense is that sympathetic nervous system response designed to protect you. Now, here's what happens when that kicks into high gear. The first thing is the body releases adrenaline and cortisol into your bloodstream. The cortisol makes you hyper present and aware and awake. It kind of perks you up into whatever's in front of you. If there's a threat, we want you to focus on that threat. The adrenaline diverts basically energy from kind of regulatory processes in the body to the major muscle groups, diverting to your quads, your hamstrings, your back, your muscles, so that you can fight or you can run. Okay, again, the same thing is happening when you get an email that's not life-threatening physically versus something that's physical, right? Now, once that cortisol and adrenaline starts flowing through your body, a few things happen. Your brain turns off rational thinking. This is a big one, all right? You're making decisions, but you're not being rational. You're being irrational, okay? Just by default, the rational part of your brain is an expensive part of the brain from an energy perspective. We need to divert that energy to the major muscle groups of your body. It turns digestion off. So now it doesn't matter how clean, how organic, how wonderful and amazing your diet is. You're not digesting anything when you're in a stressed state. It turns off your immune system. So you're not fighting off viruses and bacteria. Pretty important over the last 3 years. If you're stressed and anxious, your immune system's turned off, and it turns off your reproductive organs. So I talk to people all the time that say, I can't sleep. They say, my digestion is off. I don't know what's going on. Stress and anxiety is the root cause of 6 of the top 10 killers in the United States. Okay. This is major, major, major stuff. Now, using our technology can help to kick in the chemical cascades associated with parasympathetic, with calm and relaxed, in a matter of about 15 minutes. Listening to our music can have the same effect, but obviously it's more efficacious, right? There's a higher impact if you're using our technology and our delivery system, but you can download the app and you can utilize that too. So the more often you can train your nervous system to move from stressed and anxious to calm and relaxed, the better. Now, using our technology isn't going to change the outside world necessarily, although it can, right? You're still going to have those stimuli. You're still going to have traffic every now and again on your way to work. You're still going to have your sister that, bless her beautiful soul, you share with her over and over again how to get out of that situation, and she's just back in the same situation again, right? That breeds stress, right? Family. Ram Dass has an amazing quote, and it's something like, you think you've reached enlightenment, go spend 7 days with your family.
I
Right?
have not heard that one.
Like
But you're hitting all the top ones, right? Yeah. So
there's more. There's more, but we aren't, right? Like these are the really important parts. So again, you're not going to change the outside world. However, regular meditation, regular mindfulness, regular vibroacoustic therapy sessions can in fact change the way you react to the outside world, giving you more time, cool, calm, and collected, giving you more time with rational thinking, so that now you get in the car and you hit that traffic, and instead of freaking out and going in this downward spiral, you pick up the phone and you call the person you're supposed to meet and you say, hey, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. And they go, okay, no problem. And you're like, oh.
You know, it's one of my most famous sayings is that you don't learn to swim when you're drowning. So basically, yes, you're training 100%. Your body with meditation and mindfulness, and now we're talking about, you know, your vibroacoustic therapy to stay calm when stressful situations. We all know people that fly off the handle all the time, because that's a highly stressed person. They have a quick trigger point. So yeah, that's what you're doing. You're training your body. So that's amazing. Yes.
Just saying the word triggered triggers people. I'm not triggered. No, that's not me. It's like, wait a minute. You're right.
Oh, I know a lot of people that fly off the handle, and I noticed me, because I'm a meditator. And like I've started off by saying, I'm practicing mindfulness and being in the moment. And I noticed that my responses to things that would normally make me angry, I don't have a response. I mean, I'm just calm and collected. All right. So now let's bridge the gap. So we know about the stress response. We know about meditation in mindfulness. So what exactly, how does mindfulness get into the vibroacoustic therapy? I think you mentioned a minute ago that your music keeps you present by your little, what you call it,
Oh,
egg drops or something.
there's a
Is that what
physical
you're doing?
element to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So first let's talk about the difference between mindfulness and meditation and mindfulness meditation, because I think they're three different things. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So mindfulness for me, and there's certainly debate about this, right? So I'm not the de facto here, but I certainly have done some research and spoken to some pretty, knowledgeable people on the front. Mindfulness for me is simply the practice of being mindful, of being aware of the impact that your persona, your physical body is having on the world around you, right? What are you leaving garbage in your trash? Are you leaving situations better than you left them? Are you being mindful? We all have friends that come over to your house and are not mindful at all. They leave dirty stuff on the counter. They don't put the pillows back together, right? My wife is super OCD. We like to keep a clean house. We're super knowledgeable about this stuff, right? People that aren't mindful versus people that are. They come into your house, they take their shoes off, they make sure they left everything better. There are dishes in the sink when they come over with something dirty. They do all the dishes in the sink, right? Like these are just awesome human beings, right? Being mindful, simply being aware of how you are impacting the people around you. And that by itself is an amazing trait. Once you start to pick up on that, especially to bring that out into public, to teach that to our children. I have a 3-year-old, trying to get her to be more mindful. Kids really aren't mindful of what's going on, but nonetheless. Now, meditation, for me, meditation is slowing down and it's allowing the thoughts to flow through, just not specific thoughts. We'll get into that, but just allowing the thoughts to flow through your head. That means that your brain is always thinking. Okay. This was a big aha moment for me. Your brain doesn't know how to do anything else except think. So the thoughts are always going to be there. When I first set out to meditate, I thought it was like clear your mind, think of nothing. And now I'm just thinking about thinking of nothing. And then all the stuff I want to think about starts to come in, and it's just one big distraction. No, meditation is about just allowing the thoughts to flow. You want to dwell on something and see it through, by all means do it. Or you can come back to a mantra, or you can come back to, now you're getting to mindfulness meditation, which could be staring at a flame. It could be a mantra or something that you're repeating. It could be an I am statement, two most powerful words in the English language. I am, because whatever follows it, you are. I am powerful. I am strong. I am loved. I am safe. Ooh, brought up a little emotion even just saying that, right? These are really powerful and a great mantra for you to come back to remind the brain that you are all of these amazing things. So mindfulness meditation is where our music meditations fall in, because sound and vibration is guiding your body, mind, and spirit. It is distracting your mind and guiding your mind. So your mind is focusing on that meditation. So I equate that very much to a mantra, or to a staring at a flame, or listening to a guided meditation. Some of them certainly. So that's kind of how I see mindfulness meditation, and then mindfulness meditation as a whole. It becomes really powerful. There's a really great book. It is The Power of Full Engagement. And that book basically talks about downtime being as important as on time. So not being on time, but like being focused and driven. Like I'm sitting in I call it my command center. I'm sitting at my desk. Like I'm here for the next 8 hours and I am like taking care of things. I'm like on. And as soon as I step away from here, I try and keep the phone away from me. Yeah, I got the Apple Watch and I got some distraction, but like it's family time, it's personal time, it's relaxation, exercise. But when I'm at this desk, aside from stepping behind me and doing a couple squats just to kind of keep the energy going, I am focused on work and productivity and taxes and finance and all the things that make this world, opening my mail and just like life, right? When I step away, it really is like an on-off switch for me. And that separation helps me to compartmentalize the work, if you will.
Right, right. That's good. Yeah. When the mindfulness that you were talking about, I have a different word for that.
Yeah.
I was just being, yeah. When I'm talking about mindfulness, I'm talking about, for instance, I do a mindfulness meditation that is only 10 minutes, but it's
Yep.
powerful. It's
Yeah.
talking about Can you feel the blood poured pumping through your blood vessels? Do you feel the temperature of the room? Do you feel how your body presses into the seat that you know what I mean?
How cool is
Mindfulness in
that?
the moment kind of thing.
Totally. No, look,
Right.
that's that guided
That's
meditation
right.
that I mentioned as part of mindfulness meditation.
Meditation. Right.
100%. So
Right.
there's a part of our brain called the reticular activator system, and it's what filters out the world, if you will. Our brain processes 4 billion stimuli per second. The unconscious mind, 4 billion stimuli per second. The conscious mind, 4. All right, we can only handle 4 things. So what blocks out the other 3,996,000, what 900, whatever? All right, what blocks
We're
all
all
that
on
out?
automatic. Yep, we're all on automatic. True.
That's
Right.
right. So, and look, I'll give you a great example, right? All of a sudden you're shopping for a Ford pickup truck, and all of a sudden you see Ford pickup trucks everywhere. They were always there.
Right.
They were never
Just didn't
relative,
notice them. True.
right?
Right.
So mindfulness meditation helps you to break down that barrier. It's like my favorite expression is, you don't walk around feeling your clothing.
No.
But now that I said it, everybody's like,
But
oh,
mindfulness tells you to feel the brush.
right.
Actually, that's the thing. Feel the brush of clothing against your skin. Yeah.
It's
And
so
it's
good,
amazing.
right? Because
You
all
know,
of a
I'm in
sudden
that,
you start to
and I'm in that
focus on that.
meditation for 10 minutes. And when I'm done with it, I don't remember any of those things.
That's right. That's right. Because you're on to the next task, you're on to the next thing. But it's really remarkable when you sit still enough.
Right.
I'll give you another story. When you sit still enough that you can feel the blood coursing through your veins, and you can, and it's awesome. I was watching a special last night on tribes in Australia and the Aborigines, and they obviously walk barefoot, and they can feel vibrations that are miles away, right? And I was thinking, like, the only way you're going to be able to feel vibrations in the ground that are miles away is if you are still and aware. Right? You're not going to feel that when you're running, when you're moving, when you're talking, when you're doing all these different vibratory things. You have to sit still and pay attention and focus to the bottoms of your feet and the mechanoreceptors that are there, and then you can determine what direction it's in, and they do all this stuff. I mean, it's absolutely magic.
Did you ever watch the movie The Book of Eli? He was blind, and he was able to sense that.
And indeed, look, Denzel was great in that movie too. Like,
that's right. Right.
Absolutely fantastic.
All right, well, let me give a circle back there. So let's talk. We're talking about, because I'm trying to get me as well as the listeners to connect. So I'm doing this mindfulness meditation, and I've got one of your equipment where
the meditation cushion,
well.
our sound lounge, our practitioner. I could show you actually.
How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me change up the virtual backgrounds here. And so we designed our meditation cushion, which is right here and above my shoulder. And you can see he's sitting on a cushion. And then inside that cushion are 2 of these, 2 tactile transducers. And the headphones are plugged into the amplifier that's in the back. There's one sitting right behind me once I turn this off. And the vibrations are coming straight up your back. So you're listening to the same things that you're feeling. And this creates a 3-dimensional, fully immersive sound experience that makes you feel as though you're inside the music. It's a very, it's a mildly overwhelming feeling. It's not stress-inducing, but it is a little overwhelming to the body. That overwhelm and that mild stress, if you will, is what triggers the chemical cascades associated with calm and relaxed. We are literally shaking every single cell in your body, and your body reacts to that by releasing different hormones like serotonin, dopamine, and a few others as well. Our bigger technology is, and our biggest is, same model now. He's laying on our sound lounge, and that sound lounge is a mattress that you lay on. There's a bass that's underneath it too, and the amplifiers it's over here with headphones. And he's basically feeling. There's 4 tactile transducers inside that bed, and it's, I mean, you're on a rocket ship. I call it the magic carpet ride. And then we have a third product, which is designed specifically for massage therapy, to add vibroacoustic therapy or vibration therapy to massage, chiropractic, acupuncture, acupressure, that sort of thing. Very soothing.
That's what you call a beautiful experience. I can just imagine that.
It's
Laying on
really,
the,
it's really
I'm
nice.
assuming that they put that on the massage bed
Yep,
and then they massage you.
that's
Wow,
right. It's
that's good
blissful.
stuff.
I'm lucky enough to get it about twice a month. I have a massage therapist come here to my house where obviously I have a little studio set up, and
Wow,
yeah,
wow.
it's
Okay,
pretty
that's
magical.
yeah. That is absolutely amazing. All right, so now I get the connection. So, um, we go into meditation. We go into mindfulness meditation, if you want to put it together, because there's meditation for someone who's listening. There's meditation where you're concentrating, like you mentioned, on a mantra, right? There's
Mhm.
meditation that you concentrating on a breath, right? And then there's a mindfulness meditation where you're in the room and you're making sure you're mindful of everything that's going on with your body, with your
Mm,
space, and like you said, our brain is wired to, you know, um, uh, to discount 99% of the things that we. That's why everybody is walking around in autopilot and
mm,
don't are never mindful of what's going on. You go into the shower and you don't even remember showering because your mind is
totally.
thinking somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So we're never really mindful. So, but yeah, so but when they're doing using your equipment, not only are you mindful because you're feeling the bass or the energy that's coming through you, and it's making you be mindful because you're
Mhm.
feeling it, right?
That's right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
mechanoreceptors in our skin. Those
Yes.
mechanoreceptors are sending signals to the brain that are changes in
Right.
pressure. So as the bass comes through the body, look, it's the same reason why you can feel a breeze blowing across,
Right.
right? They're
Right.
super
Right.
sensitive, and you're
Hmm.
not actually feeling a breeze. You're perceiving it as a breeze, but what your body is actually feeling is the change in pressure on that part of your skin, and then this part of your skin, and then this part of your skin. And what that sends to your brain in real time, in a split second, is that there are changes in pressure that are moving up my arm. All of a sudden, you see a tree moving, and you go, okay, cool, there's a breeze.
There's a
That all
breeze, right?
happens in a
Mhm.
split second, and you don't even think twice about it. You just think it's a breeze. Now, if you felt a snake bite or a bug bite or something that's far more alarming, all of a sudden your attention is attracted to that part
Right.
much faster. And again, that happens in a split second.
Mhm.
Mindfulness meditations that bring us in, you talked about showering, the human, many animals are pattern recognizing beings, and humans certainly are. We identify patterns and then we fall into them. That's how sometimes on a Saturday morning you might wake up to go to the gym, and but you usually drop your kids off at school, and you just find yourself at the elementary
It's just
school dropping off your kids, and you're like,
that happens all the time.
right?
Yes.
Because you're on the phone and you're doing your thing, and you're making left and right, you're talking, catching up with a girlfriend or
Yes.
whatever, and like all of a
It's
sudden you're like,
true.
how did I get here? And that's
Yes.
the pattern, right? You're
We're an
just running through the
automatic. Yeah.
pattern.
Autopilot. Yes.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
just cruising through
Right.
life on autopilot. So,
Mhm.
and then obviously the brain is designed to identify these issues, these differences, these breaks in the patterns that we're used to each day, and alert
Mhm.
you to it. Mindfulness meditation helps you to be more aware, more conscious, and to train that part of your brain that focuses on connection and what's happening around you. And it's a practice. That's why I started by saying, you're like, I practice mindfulness. I'm like,
Yeah.
and it
Trust
is
me.
a practice.
It's definitely a practice. So yeah. So I understand that totally. Now I'm getting, I was able to bring it all in. So that's amazing.
Thank
And
you.
and the fallout is basically what you're saying is that, and you laid it out quite beautifully, that when we're in sympathetic mode, all those things don't happen, whether it's your just digestion, you don't sleep, your immunity is cut off and all that. And what your product is doing is helping people get there, because you're right. You also said, like, if someone told you to go in a corner and meditate, you're most people can't do it because they can't turn off their mind, and they're thinking that they should turn off their mind. And you also talked about letting the thoughts flow through you. I do a meditation that says, if thoughts come up, see it floating away like a colored balloon. And I try that, but even if your mind is not, you can't quiet it, just sitting on your meditation cushion, and you've got a beautiful one, just sitting there and being still, right, does some benefits. benefits to you. So, all right. So, you also said that you've got some mindfulness hacks that shortcut the meditation process. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure, absolutely. Look, obviously that sound and vibration, that's a big part of what we do.
Mhm.
We serve two main audiences when it comes to the meditation cushion specifically. Those that have never meditated or aren't able to meditate, I fall into that category. And those that have been meditating, 20 minutes a day for 20 years, you fall into that category. And both audiences strive really well and thrive with our technology because for the person that isn't able to meditate, sound and vibration takes you there. We've done the EEG testing, which is an echoencephalograph. It's like a swim cap that tests how the synapses in the brain are firing and what's happening. So we know we can induce an alpha and a theta brainwave state, which are the target brainwave states for mindfulness and meditation. So we can get you to a point where basically a monk that's been meditating on the top of a mountain for 20 years, I can get you there in 1 or 2 sessions, depending on how open and how ready you are, just by sitting you on the cushion, listening to the music and relaxing into that experience. It's really that fast. It's quite magical.
That's beautiful.
The second audience really is like yourself, and I get phone calls from folks that invest in our cushion because they like the form factor, they're interested in doing something new, they want to try something. They've heard about vibroacoustic therapy, and the meditation cushion is a nice introduction at $6.99, right? It's an easier, more of an impulse buy, if you will. And I get text messages and phone calls from them that's like, Craig, your cushion's incredible. It takes me deeper than I've ever gone. I didn't know I
Yes,
could go this deep, right? Because
yes.
meditation it's a very tricky thing. How do you teach meditation? Like I can guide you through it. Guided meditation certainly work, but like I don't know if you're getting it because it's in between your ears, that meditative state, that destination.
Mhm.
Sound and vibration takes you there. So even if you've got that amazing practice, 20 minutes a day for 20 years, now all of a sudden you're getting there faster and you're going deeper and you're
Deeper.
staying
Right,
deeper and exploring deeper and you're getting a
right.
lot more out of your meditation. Now, it's also
Yes.
really important to note you don't need our tech, and this is how we get into some of the hacks. Sound and vibration trains the brain. We create the neural pathways so that, like a needle in a record, you can drift right back in when needed, as needed, without the tech. Now, listening to the music and bringing yourself back will absolutely help you go deeper and faster. However, when you're standing online at the grocery store and the person in front of you is trying to use a debit card and they've put the wrong code in 6 times and they're like, no, 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 I got this. And you just want to check out with that one drink so that you can get back on your way. And now you can just take a deep breath. You can bring yourself back to that meditative place. You can lose yourself in your thoughts for a second. Maybe you strike up a conversation with the person next to you. Maybe you put on our app and the music just off your phone and a pair of AirPods. But now all of a sudden you can utilize that training and that practice that you've had to bring yourself in as needed on the spot without our tech. And I
Mhm.
think that's a really important part. So the biggest hack that I have is using sound and vibration. If you don't want to use my app, that's totally okay. Use something that you're streaming off YouTube. You'll find our tracks on YouTube as well. Some of them, not all of them. The shorter ones are
Right.
on our YouTube channel, but find something that gets you into that flow state. Find something that really captivates you and moves you and utilize sound and vibration. Like, you don't want to invest in my technology, that's totally fine. Download our app. It's $8 a month or $80 a year, and then get a Bluetooth speaker and just put that next to you. Right? Or
Yeah.
something with a subwoofer, your home stereo system, your car, not while you're driving.
Now,
But
is that going to do the same
but
thing because you're not feeling the stuff come through you? How is the difference with just
absolutely.
hearing it?
Ab Absolutely. It still works. It still works. It still works.
Okay.
So music has a way, especially when you're in both ears,
Okay.
music has a way of captivating the brain,
Okay.
of harmonizing your hemispheres left and right. There's something called binaural beats, which we utilize, isochronic tones. Not
Yeah,
all of our
I've
tracks
heard of
have these
those.
things, but
Right.
some of our tracks do.
Right.
And these are different ways to entertain your brain, to entrain your brain. Brainwave entrainment is simply guiding the brain on a journey, right? Because our brains are constantly looking for those patterns. They're
Mm-hmm.
constantly looking for something to hook onto and
Mm-hmm.
identify. So if you play that music and you take your brain on that journey, you're simply entraining your brain and taking your brain out of beta, eyes open, processing the world around you, into alpha, theta, even delta, up into gamma, these different brainwave states that we have.
I'll definitely try it because I listen to Sadhguru. I love Sadhguru, and he has
He's
got
awesome.
meditation music that I listen to, and that stuff is good. Now that's Indian music, and I love Indian music because
Sure.
you know
Sadhguru's
I
awesome.
am I'm from Guyana, and we're like 50% Indian over there. So I know about the Indian. So I'm always gravitating to anything Indian. So I'm definitely gonna try your app and start meditating with it. So that's amazing. Awesome. So now tell us about your company. We've talked about the meditation cushion. We've talked about it throughout our conversation. Anything that you want to add here? Tell us where we can. You've mentioned the YouTube channel. You've mentioned the cushion. You've mentioned the lounge. You've mentioned the app. You've got a lot of products. So
We got a lot
this
going
is
on,
your
no
time
doubt. Look,
to dig in.
at my core, I'm really about optimal human performance. I'm
Okay.
really about human optimization. And all that is a fancy word for giving you the best opportunity to be the best possible human being every single day. I want high levels of energy. I want high levels of focus. I want to be a great father. I want to be a great leader in my community. I want to give back. And in order to do that, I need strength. I need energy. I need brain capacity. I need all of these different things. And I'm on a mission to teach people exactly how they can get the most out of life, how they can squeeze the most juice out of that orange and really captivate and move mountains. And for me, vibroacoustic therapy is a big part of that. So we've
Yes.
built obviously an entire business around that called In Harmony Interactive. I understand that our products are an investment. Our products and our pricing is simply a product of what it costs to make them and sustain our business. We want more and more people to have access to this technology as best we can, which is why the app is so accessible and so approachable. You'll find us on all the socials. Our website is iaminharmony.com. They're those two most important words in the English language. I am in harmony. In harmony is one word, I-N, capital Harmony. I am in harmony. And you'll find us on all the social networks, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're constantly creating short form videos. We're constantly trying to share little nuggets of how you can make life and squeeze a little more juice and get a little bit more out of life. And I'm just really excited to be here. I'm the one on the other side of the comments. I'm the one on the other side of the DMs and the messaging. I take a lot of pride in being able to respond and connect with our community. And I'm super grateful to be here. I'm super grateful to have your ear and hopefully to share a little bit of insight into how your body is operating and hopefully some solutions on how you might operate a little better day to day.
That's amazing. All right. So if someone was looking for you on YouTube, they just search for I Am in Harmony on YouTube?
You search for In Harmony Interactive, which is our actual company
Okay.
name. So
In
all of our
Harmony.
handles are at In Harmony Interactive.
Okay.
So youtube.com/In Harmony Interactive. A search for In Harmony, by the way, will pull us up. A search in Google for In Harmony Interactive will pull us up. A search
Okay.
for
And
I
the
Am in
app,
Harmony
if they
will
were
pull
to
us
go
up
on
too.
Google to look for the app, it's In Harmony
Yep.
Interactive. All right.
In Harmony Interactive or In Harmony Music Meditations is the formal name of
Okay.
the app. Yep.
All right.
So to search for In Harmony in our app, we'll pull it up too in the
will
App
pull
Store,
it up.
Google and Android.
Okay. That's amazing. Yeah. I love the vibration and the music tie-in it to meditation, to mindfulness, and I know it works. Now, we didn't talk about the different stages of meditation, but yes, novices would just maybe be able to quiet their minds for a little bit, or they'll be able to concentrate on the breath. The masters go really, really deep where they're almost, I'm throwing out a word here, astral traveling and things like that. So, what I think that your stuff, what I think that your meditation music does is that at least takes them out of the baseline. I think that you talk about getting deeper. So yeah, because if you really go deep into meditation, you can shift things. One of the other people that I love is Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he works with people that changes their life by meditation. You don't change your life, cure yourself of cancer, all these different things unless you can get really deep. So yes, you're
Dr. Joe
offering.
does an event every, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No. I mean, what I'm saying is, I'm saying that in order for people to get deeper, then this is the exact avenue of doing it, instead of, maybe taking 3 years and or more
Look,
to
it's a
go longer
process,
and learn
right?
to quiet your mind and all that. So you've
Meditation
learned about
is
Dr.
a
Joe
process.
Dispenza's
Dr.
seminars, or
Joe
what?
he hosts live events every month. And at the end of his event, we inevitably sell a bunch of meditation cushions because people find us afterwards and they're like, I want something to meditate on. Your meditation cushion's amazing. His meditations sound amazing through our tech. You can listen to anything through our tech as well, by the way. So
Yes.
you want to listen to reggae music through while you're sitting on our cushion? Woo-hoo! You'll feel every ounce,
Oh
every
my
beat. It's absolutely incredible.
God. I will be in heaven.
Absolutely incredible. It's awesome. It's
I would have
awesome.
one of those afterlife experiences.
And look, people astral project all the time. Astral projection, if you're not familiar with what that is, it feels like a dream state. It feels like you're taken away from your body, you're taken
Yes.
into some place, guided or unguided, where if you have the consciousness while you're inside to navigate it, that's definitely an advanced
Right.
skill. But it
Yes.
happens all the time. People get off the tech. I say, "How was that?" And they go, they don't know where they are. They're like trying to figure out, like they know where they are, but they're
Yeah,
like, what
right.
just
And that's
what
why I
just
mentioned it,
happened?
because there are different levels of meditation, and I can just, I
Oh
haven't
yeah.
tried your product, but I can visually understand what exactly happening, and I know that if you're able to tap in to that experience, then you will go deeper. You might not get to
Oh
astral
yeah.
travel because it takes some more stuff, but you will definitely go deeper. And the reason that you want to go deeper is that you change things in your life, not just
Mm-hmm.
your stress response, but you can actually change your whole mindset shift. Like I
So
started the
here's how,
conversation. Yeah.
go on. Tell me about your
I started the
conversation. And I want to
conversation
share.
by talking about Eckhart Tolle. I mean, listen to his journey, and you would know that what happens to you when you've gone through that transformation. Yes. Anyway, go ahead.
So look, I look at it as changing the lens you're looking at life through. We
Yes.
all have this perspective of how we look at life, more importantly, how we reflect back on life and how it unfolded. And we can get caught up on the past.
Mhm.
Not only that, mindfulness and meditation helps me to change the lens in which I'm looking back on life. So hopefully I could take what I thought was a negative situation and turn that into a positive situation. I watch a lot on comebacks, and I work a lot with addiction. I work a lot with people that have had traumatic experiences. Obviously, this is the
Yes.
core of our technology. And
Yes.
what many of them say is that traumatic experience that they had contributed to them becoming who they are today.
Mhm.
And they can find gratitude, they can find appreciation. They might not wish it on their worst enemy. They might not want to go through it again, but many of them will actually look back on that experience and say, you know what? I'm over it now. I'm in a happy place now. I have a great family, I'm surrounded by friends now. And that experience helped me to become the human that I am today. And that reflection back, looking at that lens, is really about mindfulness and meditation, and the power and the strength of vibroacoustic therapy is that it allows you to look back on those experiences through a slightly different lens. And you might actually find that it was a slightly different learning that you earned through that experience.
Yes. Yes.
A very powerful breakthroughs start to happen, and it's a very powerful practice for that purpose.
Yes. Yes, well, listen, I love your technology. I'll definitely check it out myself. Thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your specialty and your knowledge with us. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio, podcast, and television show. This is what I do. I bring you guests every week that allows you to live your best life now, by whether it's meditation, whether it's mindset shifting your thoughts. So a transcript of my conversation with Craig is going to be on the show page, which is blog.myhelps.us. I would also link out to all his various different formats that you can find him on. And of course, also on social media. Definitely support him. Go, and he says, you can start off by just starting with the app. And that will be your intro, or go and get yourself a meditation cushion. I say that I go in my meditation cushion, but it's just a regular cushion. So now
Taking it to the
I
next
need
level.
I need the real
There's
thing,
another
right?
level. There's always another level.
It's just a pillow.
Thank you, Marina.
All right, guys. Well, listen, Craig, this has been an excellent conversation. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're fresh out of time. So, Craig, you guys, until next time, namaste.
Namaste.